Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about AI, and we're really diving into the future with this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride.
We were looking at some insights from a recent conversation with former Google CEO Eric Schmidt.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
And let me tell you, things are about to get really interesting. Schmidt, you know as well as I do, he's been at the forefront of the tech world for decades.
Absolutely, yeah.
So his take on where AI is going is, well, kind of big deal.
Yeah, it carries some weight.
He's painting this picture of a future with incredible potential, but also some pretty major hurdles,
Right.
especially when it comes to energy consumption.
It's a big one.
Think of it this way. AI is about to change everything, but it's also incredibly power hungry. So can we bridge this energy gap before we hit a wall? That's the question.
That's the billion-dollar question, yeah.
Schmidt didn't hold back on making some predictions about AI's trajectory over just the next 2 years. He's talking about big advancements, especially in healthcare. So imagine AI that can personalize your medical treatments.
Wow.
And then there's education. Picture AI tutors that are tailoring lessons to each student individually.
That would be revolutionary.
And that's not even touching on the stuff in scientific research, where AI could analyze these massive data sets and uncover these breakthroughs at just like lightning speed.
The pace of discovery would be incredible.
But here's the thing that Schmidt emphasizes, even beyond, the potential for AI to be used for misinformation.
Right, which is a whole other can of worms.
It's the acceleration of breakthroughs, especially in energy and materials science, that could be the real game changer.
Totally. AI as a tool to solve the energy crisis. It's kind of a beautiful irony.
Yeah. And driving this whole thing are three key AI developments that are happening right now as we speak.
I know, I'm interested to hear this.
First up is infinite context windows, which sounds really complicated, but it's actually pretty straightforward.
Okay, break it down for me.
Okay, so it's basically like AI getting a memory upgrade, being able to remember every step of a process, not just what you're feeding it right now.
So it can remember everything that came before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Schmidt uses the example of like building a house, right? Imagine AI remembering all the steps you've taken, from, hiring architects to getting permits, and then using all that knowledge to guide you through the rest of the project.
So it's like having a project manager in your pocket who's seen it all before.
Exactly. That's infinite context windows in action.
That's impressive. What's the second one?
Okay, the next one is agents, which are a little more ambiguous because they're still being defined.
Okay.
But Schmidt sees them acting like AI memory banks, kind of triggering actions based on what they observe.
So like setting up these complex rules. If this happens, then do that.
Exactly. If this, then that, but on a much grander scale. And here's what's really interesting. Schmidt actually predicts the rise of agent stores. Like, think of it like app stores, but for these AI agents.
Okay.
Need help managing your inbox or scheduling meetings? Just download an agent to take care of it.
That would be amazing. Download a better version of myself.
Right. The third one is text to code. And this one is going to revolutionize programming as we know it.
This has been a long time coming, hasn't it?
Right. Imagine describing what you want a program to do, and then the AI just writes the code for you. It's like having a personal AI software developer like on call 24/7.
The possibilities are endless. That's incredible.
Schmidt even joked about using it to automate the process of like identifying and then ranking all the energy policy experts and then sending out invitations to all of them and even giving like a piece of his mind to the ones who declined, like using a synthetic voice.
He's got a sense of humor about it. I'll give him that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's mind-blowing to think about the possibilities.
It really is. And these three things, these infinite context windows, these agents, and the text to code, they represent a huge leap forward. They really do.
It really feels like we're on the cusp of something truly groundbreaking,
Absolutely. It's exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time. We're moving closer to a world where AI can seamlessly just integrate with our own intelligence, taking on all these complex tasks that we never thought possible before.
It's like AI is becoming less artificial and more intelligent.
Right. And you know what all this progress has done? It's sparked this global race to, who's going to dominate the AI landscape.
Oh, yeah, it's on. Like a new space race, but for algorithms.
Exactly. And we're seeing this really fierce competition, even between the tech giants. So you've got Anthropic, which is backed by Amazon.
Right, they're really making waves.
And then there's Google's Gemini, and then OpenAI, who has partnered with Microsoft, and then, there's Facebook. They're taking kind of a different route with their massive open source model.
Yeah, they really threw a curveball with that one.
They did. But this competitive spirit is actually a really good thing because it's driving innovation at an insane rate. We're seeing this thing called distillation, where the power of cutting-edge AI is being used to make these really specialized AI models.
So it's like taking the raw horsepower of a supercomputer and then focusing it like a laser beam.
Exactly.
For specific tasks.
Precisely.
So with all this talk of AI becoming exponentially more potent, more specialized, it begs the question.
Shoot.
Are we on the verge of artificial general intelligence? AGI.
The million-dollar question.
Right. That point where AI transcends these specialized tasks and develops a much more generalized, human-like intelligence, maybe even surpassing our own.
Yeah, it is the big question, isn't it? And while I do think that AGI is in our future, trying to put an exact date on it's impossible.
Right, like try and predict the weather a year from now.
Exactly. AGI, it's not just going to appear overnight. I think it's much more likely that it's going to creep up on us as all these systems become more automated, more flexible, and more intelligent.
So you're saying it's not going to be some big dramatic reveal. It'll be more like, oh, wait a minute, it's already here.
Exactly. A gradual dawning, if you will.
And what's interesting is that the key to unlocking AGI might actually lie in a field that most people wouldn't expect. Mathematics. Yeah, it might seem kind of odd, but AI's progress in mathematics is showing incredible potential. So there's this programming language called Lean that's designed specifically for generating and proving mathematical theorems.
I've heard of it, but I'm not super familiar with it.
Well, imagine AI not just using Lean, but actually formulating its own hypotheses and then proving them.
That would be huge, like a machine having original mathematical insights.
Exactly. And that would be a revolutionary leap towards demonstrating independent, flexible intelligence.
It would turn our understanding of intelligence on its head.
Absolutely. To understand what that means, let's bring it down to earth with something that we're all familiar with.
Okay, I'm game.
Imagine TikTok. You know how people spend hours, days even, trying to figure out what makes a video go viral?
Oh, tell me about it. It's like trying to decipher an ancient code.
Right. Now imagine AI analyzing all that data, understanding the patterns, and then, bam, creating the perfect viral video on demand.
Like an AI influencer that actually knows what it's doing.
Exactly. That's the kind of power we're talking about.
It's both fascinating and a little terrifying.
It is, isn't it? And it goes way beyond creating viral videos. Imagine this level of AI woven into your everyday life, your work, your leisure time.
It'd be revolutionary.
It becomes this incredibly potent assistant, guiding you through complex decisions, finding solutions that you might not have even considered.
It's like having an AI co-pilot for your life. Which, of course, brings us back to the elephant in the room.
Right. All this potential comes with a catch.
A big one. Energy.
Exactly. We can't talk about AI's future without addressing its massive energy consumption. We know that Schmidt has been talking with leaders in the AI industry, and what he found out is kind of startling.
Yeah, it turns out that energy is their #1 or #2 concern.
Wow.
You've got these brilliant minds at the forefront of AI, and they're more worried about power than anything else. That's how big of a deal this is.
So it's not just theoretical. This is a real problem they're facing right now.
Right, and the numbers back it up. I mean, some experts are predicting that the U.S. could actually face an energy shortfall in just 4 years if AI development just keeps going at this pace.
4 years. That's like right around the corner.
Yeah, it is. It's like we're staring down this technological wall and we're running out of road.
So what are we doing about it? I mean,
Yeah.
are there solutions out there?
Well, there's been these amazing advancements in chip technology.
Right, like more energy efficient chips.
Exactly, like NVIDIA's energy efficient B200 chip. But those gains are being eaten up by the demands of these increasingly complex AI models.
So it's like we're trying to put out a forest fire with a garden hose.
Pretty much. We're making progress on the efficiency front, but the sheer scale of AI's appetite for energy is just outpacing us.
It's a moving target.
Right. As soon as chips become more efficient, the tasks that we're asking them to do become even more demanding. It's a constant game of catch-up.
And then on top of all that, we have another hurdle, which is the slow process of building new energy infrastructure here in the U.S.
Oh, absolutely. It's like we're trying to win a race with a horse and buggy when everyone else has a sports car. The speed of AI, it's moving at lightning speed, but our infrastructure, it's stuck in the slow lane.
Well, what about renewables? Can't we just ramp up solar and wind power?
We can and we should. The good news is that renewables are becoming more cost-effective. The problem is that they're intermittent. The sun doesn't always shine, the wind doesn't always blow. We need reliable baseload power to fill in those gaps.
So it's not just about building more power plants, it's about rethinking the entire grid, right?
Exactly. We need a more agile and kind of a testbed approach. Imagine if the government partnered with these industries to pilot and rapidly deploy new energy solutions.
So more of a fail fast, learn faster approach to energy solution.
Exactly. We need to see what works and what doesn't, and we need to do it quickly.
Okay, so we need to revamp our grid. But what about where we build in the first place? Does it even make sense to keep building massive data centers in the same places we always have?
That's another piece of the puzzle, isn't it? What if we started building these data centers in locations that have abundant renewable energy resources? Bring the data centers to the energy source, so to speak.
Interesting. So instead of trying to bring the energy to the data centers, we do the opposite.
Exactly. And Schmidt has actually been in talks with countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, who are investing a ton of money in renewable energy and data centers. They could become major hubs for AI training.
Wow. So the Middle East could become the new Silicon Valley of AI.
Potentially. They've got the land, they've got the sunshine, and they're investing heavily in the infrastructure.
But what about the security concerns?
Yeah.
I mean, are we comfortable having sensitive data processed in other countries?
It's a valid concern. One solution is to keep the really sensitive stuff, like the training of AI models that deal with national security or really personal data, within a tight circle of trusted allies. But the less sensitive tasks, those could be handled elsewhere.
So it's a balancing act. We need to weigh the benefits of access to clean energy with the risks associated with data security.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where we can advance AI development while also safeguarding our interests.
It makes you wonder if we're being too narrow-minded in our search for solutions. What about something like nuclear power? Why isn't that being discussed more?
Yes, the nuclear option. It's definitely a hot-button issue, and Schmidt has some pretty strong opinions about it.
Like,
Well, for example, he was very critical of Germany's decision to shut down their perfectly functional fission plants. He believes that was a mistake.
interesting. So he's not anti-nuclear at all.
No, not at all. In fact, he's actually a big proponent of keeping existing nuclear power plants operational and even reopening ones that have been closed.
So he's not just talking about building new nuclear plants. He's talking about utilizing what we already have.
Exactly. He argues that we can't afford to take any options off the table if we want to solve this energy crisis.
It sounds like he's advocating for a diverse portfolio of energy solutions, not just relying on one single source, but a mix of renewables, nuclear, and potentially other things we haven't even thought of yet.
Precisely. It's about being adaptable and innovative. The energy landscape is constantly changing, and we need to be able to change with it.
It's not just a domestic issue either, is it? I mean, this energy challenge has global implications.
Absolutely. This is a global challenge that requires a global solution. We're all in this together, whether we like it or not.
It's like we're all in the same boat trying to navigate these uncharted waters.
And we need to work together if we want to reach the shores of a future powered by AI.
It sounds like the stakes couldn't be higher. It really feels like we're at a crossroads. We're facing this energy crisis, but it's also a defining moment. Like, how do we want AI to shape the future?
It makes you think, right? We can't just keep talking about flipping the switch and, powering up AI. We have to decide what kind of future we're trying to power up.
It's about progress, but it's also about responsibility.
Exactly. And it's easy to get really caught up in the excitement of a new technology, but we can't lose sight of the ethical considerations.
Right, like how do we make sure that AI benefits everyone, not just a select few?
It's a huge question, and it's not just up to the engineers or policymakers. It's on all of us. We need to stay informed, ask the tough questions, and hold those in power accountable.
Absolutely. This technology is going to impact all of us, so we need to make our voices heard.
We do. Sometimes it feels a little overwhelming, like we're just along for the ride with all this change.
Totally. Things are moving so fast.
But we're not powerless. We really do have a say in how this unfolds.
So where do we even start?
It starts with education. Understanding what AI is, what it can do, and its potential impact. And from there, we can demand transparency from these companies developing these technologies. We can push for regulations, make sure they're considering the ethical side of things.
So it's about shaping the future that we want, not just reacting to the future that's being built for us.
Exactly. We have more power than we realize. And look, it's easy to get kind of like bogged down in pessimism, right? But there's also so much hope.
Yeah. I mean, humans are incredibly good at solving problems. We've tackled huge challenges before.
Exactly. But it's going to require a little bit of a mindset shift, moving from this place of scarcity and competition to a more collaborative approach. We need to share responsibility for this.
That really resonates, recognizing that we're all in this together. We're facing this shared challenge. We're moving towards a shared future.
It's the only way forward.
One of the things I found really inspiring about Schmidt's take on all of this is that even with all these hurdles, he really believes this AI revolution has the potential to make life better.
I agree. There's so much potential there.
He sees AI as this tool, a tool that can help us address climate change, disease, some of the biggest problems facing humanity.
That's true. Technology can be a double-edged sword, though. It can be used for good or for bad. The responsibility ultimately falls on us to guide the development of this technology, to make sure we're using it for good.
So it's not even really just about AI, it's about who we are as humans at this pivotal moment in history.
100%.
And it's about the choices we make now. Choosing the path of progress, of sustainability, and making sure that technology serves us, not the other way around. That's a future worth fighting for, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. A future we can build together.
I love that. That's a really powerful message to end on. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Remember, the future is not something that just happens to us. It's something we create. So let's get out there and build a future that's powered by AI, but really driven by our shared humanity.